What is going on, friends? Sean Don coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have my boy Vashawn Walker. You know what it is, Ohio Wesleyan. So, I actually saw him post this video on Instagram. I was like, ooh, I'm impressed. I like the changes. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. But before that, go to gripandrip.co if you're in need of any online coaching, throws programming, lifting programming, anything like that. Hit me up if you have any questions. If you want something specific that's not there, I can do that. Alrighty? I'm autonomous. I'm in control of whatever I do, as are you. So, whatever, doesn't matter. Gripandrip.co, get some merch, support me, support the brand, support the sport. Alright? Let's get into it. Vashawn, you sent me two videos, 6K and 16, and I think both looked good, to be fair. Um, this one I think is the 16. Honestly, couldn't exactly tell, but lines just look a little bit, you know, more like a 16, I guess. But I really like this one because it had better patience. And like I said, but both throws looked better. You're staying in the orbit more, coming through the finish pretty well. So I'm excited to break this down and see what I can help you fix. Orbit does look a little bit steep around the left side, like high point's kind of stuck up here instead of getting over to 180. But at least it's consistent. You're not pulling back majorly. Like I said, you're really patient after the first catch in this throw, especially. So a lot of good things. So let's break it down. Also looks like you're wearing like some, I don't know if those are sweatpants or like work pants or cargo khaki pants, whatever. But it's a vibe. I like it. In the winds, good job turning back, facing just a little bit after 45 after 0, opening up the shoulders well. Letting the hands drop maybe a little bit much. First one, not a huge deal. We'll see what happens in the second wind. Good step up here, stable, centered. Turn the shoulders back again, staying tall. And then, yeah, I think if you kept hands up and out a little bit more in the first wind and the second wind, so try to think about keeping the hands up and not even maybe up, but out a little bit more. Coming through here instead of, them down at waist height. Try to get them like maybe belly button height, maybe like lower chest, like lower sternum height, maybe a little bit. Gives you bigger radius, gives you a little bit more centripetal force. Not sure if that's actually, biomechanically true, but in my mind it makes sense, ball up and out, longer path for the ball, whereas when you let the hands drop and you kind of get close to the body, it shortens the radius a little bit, makes things a little bit different. So same thing into the second wind, especially off the century. With this step up, feel the ball really kind of whoosh around you. You want to feel the ball kind of accelerate as it goes behind you. You want to keep that tension. You want to send it. You really want to go with it. You don't want to go like balls to the wall right off this second wind, but you do want to continue to build that tension as it goes around behind your head. So if you can feel some tension back behind here, that'll help you keep the ball up and out on that your right side a little bit more. Because right now, like I said, just a little bit of lack of tension, hands drop a little bit, and you're just letting the hands drop, ball drop a little bit, low point off to the right, just a little bit too much. So hands up and out a little bit. If your hands were kind of up around like where I guess your elbows would be, like I said, about chest level, I think things would get a lot easier perhaps. With that, you need to be a little bit more patient, but I think it would make things just a lot easier on you. Good stability, good patience through entry. I love this. Love that, love that, love that, love that. You could see the right side a little bit behind, but it's not as bad as I've seen in the past. Your right leg is turning. You're centered. You're got a stable left side. Ball looks like it's out left. It's real nice. I think in here you can see, yeah, the right leg is a little bit behind. Right hip's a little bit behind. But it's not a huge thing. You do kind of sneak it in there. A little bit of rise through this left leg as you go to step. Maybe you could try to get a little bit more like right hip to the high point. So when ball's out into the sector, try to step this right hip forwards into it a little bit more. Engage the abs a little bit. Maybe keep this left knee down. Kind of think about stepping down in the next turn. Drop that left knee a little bit. Different ways to do it, but either way, you catch pretty solid. A little bit of separation. You could be on the ball of the foot a little bit more, perhaps. But I think, like I said, the big thing here is his patience after this first catch is really good. Ball's still kind of dropping on you, like I said, low points off to just outside of the camera frame, like 45, 60 before 0. But then you do a really good job staying patient. Catch on that heel, you're really patient, really stable. Left side leading a little bit, but like for the most part, head's a little bit ahead, but it's pretty stable. Like I like this. Left side stable, ball goes through 0. You see hips kind of shift back a little bit, but ball's still out left. Turning that right leg with it better. You could maybe dorsiflex this left foot a little bit more. That's really splitting hairs. but generally ball's doing what it needs to do. Right hip's with it more. You can see your hips are a little bit more towards it. You're stepping a little bit more forwards. And so this is I would say not a problematic position, but this is something I would want to change if I saw this in my throw. Um, and I think it's this straight right leg. Like I said, I think you could have a little bit more shin angle here. So if you got on the ball of the foot, it would give you just a little bit more pressure, because when you kind of land like this with that straight right leg, your left side's going to be stable, but your right side isn't really going to turn with it as well as it needs to. So like I said, that's going to kind of cause the left side to pull a little bit, and you get a little bit in there, but it's pretty connected for the most part. And then you see the high point kind of sticks up around here. I think if you were on the ball of the foot, you'd be able to turn with the hammer a little bit better. Maybe the low point would get a little bit more in front of you. But like, this is looking way better, man. Same thing a little bit. Like, you get, as soon as you get to the side of the foot, you kind of go onto the toe. If you drop this left knee open a little bit more, if you have that kind of knee ankle mobility strength, that might help a little bit. Get that direction, like I said, get the low point, or sorry, the high point a little bit more around to 180. Ball's a little bit higher on the left though, but like I said, you're staying in the orbit. The orbit is consistent. That's really good. Right leg a little bit behind again. You come a little bit wide. Get pulled around the left a little bit. Catch. Same sort of thing with this kind of straight right leg. Ball of the foot might be better. Hands up a little bit higher. Just kind of dropping it on your right side. Each turn in the winds and the entry, and almost every turn, ball's just low on this right side. And then from that, you got to kind of pull up and across and flight out of it a little bit. But still relatively patient, relatively stable. Like, this is good stuff, man. This is really good stuff. And then same thing here. You can start to see ball's getting up a little bit on you. Hips getting into a little bit more. I think if you could drive this right knee up in, like I said, right hip to high point, maybe I think a little bit more A-skip with the right leg. Because it's just not, I don't even call it lazy. You're turning with it, but could be just a little bit more active with like the knee drive into each turn. And that'll help you catch a little bit sooner. Like I said, even land on the ball of the foot more, because when you turn and this right leg's a little bit behind you, you kind of catch, and you just kind of, like I said, same thing, flat-footed on the heel. Could get more of a shin angle. Ball's a little bit low, but you're stable. Again, maybe this heel catch, like I said, I personally, when I feel myself catch on the heel, it feels way more stable. But it also makes it a little bit harder to turn that right leg with everything. And then you see you catch flat-footed, pull this left side, kind of pulling out of the orbit a little bit there. Instead of having like a nice smooth release, you got to kind of fight out of it a little bit and kind of finish. Maybe not even like up over the shoulder, but kind of like straight up behind you. And that's why you kind of get pulled forward a little bit, because the ball is it's just getting stuck up there. So in general, like I said, some really good things in here, man. Like I'm stoked to see this. This is great. In general, like I said, the big things, try to keep the ball up and out a little bit more on that right side, maybe a little bit flatter orbit and entry. Outside of that, you can think about maybe trying to get that low point a little bit more towards 0 in the entry. In each turn, like I said, you want low point more or less at 0 and at high point at 180. Where, like I said, throughout this whole throw, it's a consistent orbit, which is, I think, a step forward for sure. But in terms of like moving forwards, like how do I continue to progress? If that low point gets more to 0, if the high point gets more to 180, you're going to be fighting it less. It's going to be a much more easy, efficient throw. And then along with that, just like I said, that right leg. First catch, I think on the heel is cool. Maybe even the second catch. I think I've heard Judd Logan used to do that back in the day. But ball of the foot, especially as you go through like 2, 3, 4, a little more shin angle, down in the knees a little bit. Maybe work on some single leg strength and stability and stuff like that. Maybe you'd get more comfortable in that position. You could do some isometrics, stuff like that. But those are kind of the 3 big things that I think you need to work on. Like I said, your patience here is pretty good. You're turning with the ball pretty well. Your connection is pretty solid. You're in the orbit. I've said this probably about 8 times now. But yeah, big things: ball up and out on the right side, flatter orbit, low point, orbit more even in general, low point 0, high point 180, and then ball of the foot. Keep that right side turning with it, and then like I said, maybe a little bit of more dorsiflexion in the left foot, a little bit more knee drive with the right leg and single support. I think it all kind of goes together. It's all one thing. I think if you fix the orbit, it'll get easier to turn the right side. If you turn the right side better, you're going to catch better. The orbit's going to be better. You're going to work it better. It all goes together. So, yeah, man, stoked to see it. Love it. Cutting it off a little bit, kind of pulling it off just a little bit, but still pretty solid. So, yeah, Vashawn, Like I said, good job. If you have any questions, hit me up. If anybody else out there would like technical analysis, you want some throws programming, lifting programming, now's the time to sign up. It's off-season, preseason, school's starting up. If you don't have a coach to write lifting or programming for you, or if you have a really cool coach who doesn't really mind and wants some extra help, tell them about me. Hit them up, ask them, be like, hey, what do you think about, maybe getting some extra help? If they're cool, cool. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, let's do it. If they're not cool, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Buy into what your coach says, though. All right? Don't just listen to what I say. Whoever you're working with on a day-to-day basis is who you need to listen to for the most part. But some outside advice every now and then can help, especially if everybody's bought into it. So either way, it doesn't matter. I'm rambling now. If anybody, we're all done here. gripandrip.co, coaching, merch, apparel, whatever. All right. Thanks for watching. Until next time, Sean Don signing off.